Mulcahy, Chief of Staff Irish Defence Forces, Senator Aubrey McCarthy, TD Roderick O'Gorman, Mr. Luke Kinnan, Deputy Director for Trade and Tourism and Investment, representing Minister of State for State Promotion, Trade Promotion, Artificial Intelligence and Digital Transformation, Niamh Smith, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Archbishop Lucy Mariano Montemayor, Papa Nuncio to Ireland, Your Excellencies, colleagues, members of the Diplomatic Corps, care italiane, cari italiani, cari amici e amiche dell'Italia in Irlanda, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Buonasera e benvenute e benvenuti. Good evening and welcome. Céad Míle Fáilte. I am very glad to have you here tonight, and thank you all for coming to celebrate together the National Day of Italy. And thank you also for coming with us at uncertain weather, but so far so good, as we can say. I am particularly honored to welcome you because, as you know, this is indeed the first National Day for me in my capacity as Ambassador of Italy to Ireland. And at the same time, it is the first Italian National Day being celebrated in the new residence of Lonsdale, here after Lucan House. 79 years ago, on June 22nd, 1946, the Italian citizens chose freedom, democracy and peace, as solemnly remarked by the President Sergio Mattarella last Sunday. On the 22nd of June, we celebrate, indeed, the birth of our Republic, the result of a choice of peace, freedom and independence, in a spirit of rejection of violence among nations. That vote of the Italian people gave birth to our Constitution, an ambitious Constitution which identifies peace and cooperation in international relations as a vocation of the Republic, a choice that the European integration process has strengthened and consolidated. 79 years after the birth of the Italian Republic, we are living nowadays in an increasingly unstable international context, marked by scenarios of growing tension and conflicts. In these challenging and uncertain times, the celebration of the National Day offers the opportunity to reaffirm our deep and convinced commitment to peace. This is why I am also very glad to announce that Italy will continue to supporting Ukraine after the attack from Russia, and we reiterate our support and solidarity also to the Kenyan embassy here, to the Kenyan ambassador Larissa Garasco, with whom we had the opportunity to work in the last weeks to promote the participation of Ireland to the Ukraine Recovery Conference, which will be hosted by Italy and Ukraine in Rome on the 10th of July next, with a shared commitment to strengthen the resilience of Ukraine for as long as needed and to contribute to the swift recovery and long-term reconstruction of the country. Still, with regard to the unfortunately ongoing scenarios of conflict, our thoughts turn also to the Middle East, And as pointed out by President Mattarella last Sunday, the Middle East, after Hamas' bloody attack against defenseless Israeli victims with hostages who must be immediately released, is experiencing the humanitarian tragedy underway in Gaza. In this dramatic situation, Italy continues to work for an immediate ceasefire and for strengthening the humanitarian assistance with initiatives such as the Italian-led initiative Food for Gaza. And I'm very glad to welcome you tonight also a colleague, the Palestinian ambassador, with whom I had the pleasure to present the credential together with President Higgins when I arrived last October. Our vocation for peace and cooperation, grounded in the Italian Constitution, has been strengthened and consolidated within the framework of the European integration process as EU founding member. And in this context, later this month, we will celebrate the 17th anniversary of the Messina Conference of 1955, a milestone in the relaunch of the European integration process. And on June 18 and 19 next, we will bring together, again in Sicily, but this time in the beautiful setting of Taormina, the foreign ministers of your member states, as well as candidate and potential candidate countries, to reflect together on the centrality of European integration and reform process in a context of existential challenges for the future of the European Union. And I'm confident that Italy and Ireland, both convinced and proactive members of the European Union, will play the part to contribute for the future of the European Union, also in view of the forthcoming semester of prospective presidency of the EU Council in Ireland in 2026 and Italy in 2028. The renewed dynamism in trade and business relations between our two countries has been confirmed last March by the visit to Dublin of the Deputy Minister for Enterprise and Made in Italy, Minister Valentino Valentini, organized in cooperation with the Irish Chamber of Commerce and the ITA agency, under the guidance of the chair of the chamber, Fulvio Pietribrasi, and of the head of the ITA London office, Giovanni Sacchi. They are both here tonight with us, and I thank them for their precious cooperation and continuous support since my arrival in Dublino. Grazie caro Furio e grazie Giovanni. The visit of the Deputy Minister Valentini in his meeting with the Irish Minister for Enterprise, Peter Burke, as well as the missions of Italian business delegations in the following months, and most recently, the active participation of Italian companies in the Dublin Tech Summit represent significant steps aimed at further strengthening the economic and the commercial relations between Italy and Ireland. Two open and strongly export-oriented economies with a global outlook and many elements of complementarity. At the same time, Italy and Ireland are also both known as cultural superpowers, as demonstrated by their remarkable achievements in the fields of art, music, literature, and music. And in this regard, I would like to thank and congratulate the staff of the Italian Institute of Culture and its very active director, Marco Gioacchini, for the many meaningful and successful cultural initiatives realized in the last months since my beginning of my tenure here in Dublin. And I take this opportunity to wish Marco and his family all the best for the new adventure that they will face from next October down under. Marco. The events organized by the Italian Institute of Culture in cooperation with Irish partners are too numerous to be mentioned now, but among those initiatives, I would like to recall the ongoing exhibition organized together with the Dunleary Lockdown Council and County Council at the Lexicon Library, represented here tonight by the librarian Nicola Faganello, who helped us a lot in our work, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of birth of the Italian and Irish famous scientist Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor of the wireless telegraph and radio. Marconi has also been a great friend of Ireland, both because he was half Irish, as maybe you know. His mother was Annie Jamieson, the granddaughter of the founder of the historic Irish distillery Jamieson's and Sons, and because he carried out important and pioneering experiments in intercontinental radio broadcasting on this island, including in Dunleary, exactly opposite, in the building opposite the Lexicon Library. And as we highlighted also in a recent event organized at the Lexicon Library in Dunleary, Marconi was also the mentor of the great Irish prima donna of opera, Margaret Burke Sheridan. So, if you haven't done it yet, you are more than welcome to go to the Lexicon Library in Dunleary and visit the exhibition on Marconi that will be open until next Sunday. Since my arrival here last October, I also realized another important element that unites our two countries, the passion for sport, not only as a form of entertainment or exercise, but also as a vehicle for promoting the universal values of peace and inclusion. And in this regard, I am particularly glad to announce the upcoming launch of the Italian initiative Giro d'Irlanda Beyond Limits, not just and ultracycling, supported by the Italian Ministry for Disabilities. This unique initiative, which will be presented with a special event at the Italian Institute of Culture on June 12th, will take place in Ireland between the 15th of June and the 1st of July, and will feature Andrea Pusateri, an Italian Paralympic champion and captain of the team Rovagnati to the Giro d'Italia 2025, who will be cycling around Ireland in a route of 2,600 kilometers in over 16 stages that will cross the island starting from Dublin. So I take this opportunity to invite you all to follow this very special initiative aimed at promoting together with Ireland a culture of inclusion and of sports, also in view of the upcoming important event of the Milano Cortina 2026 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. Indeed, as many of you already know, Italy will host in February next year, in the beautiful scenery of the Italian Alps and Dolomites, and I can tell you because I'm from Trentino, so I can confirm these are the beautiful scenery there. The Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games of Milano Cortina will happen, as I said, in February 2026, with the opening ceremony foreseen on the 6th of February in the San Siro Stadium in Milan. In this regard, I am very glad to welcome you tonight with us the CEO and General Secretary of the Irish Olympic Federation, Peter Sherrard, who is somewhere around over there. Thank you, Peter, for being here. Whom I thank for the cooperation and the enthusiasm in working together in promoting, also here in Ireland, the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics. Another tangible proof of the spirit of friendship and reciprocal support between Italy and Ireland in approaching this important event is the new 4-year partnership announced between the Olympic Federation of Ireland and Fiat Ireland, which will see the iconic Italian car brand of Turin become the official car partner of Team Ireland through the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympic Games, and also to the Los Angeles, which I love, as I was posted there as Consul General for 4 years, so the Los Angeles 2028 Summer Olympic Games. A cooperation which is simplified by the Fiat Team Ireland cars, which are displayed at the entrance of the residence today, as you've seen, thanks to the kind support of Govan Motors and Fiat Ireland. But this ongoing all-round cooperation between our two countries is not confined to the government-to-government or business-to-business dimensions, but it also involves local government level. And this is exactly the context of the ongoing joint efforts to conclude a twinning agreement between Dublin and the Italian city of Pompeii in Campania, the famous city with the site of the homonymous Roman archaeological site. In this context, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Dublin City Council, represented here tonight by Ms. Juliet Passmore of the Economic Development Office, for the kind support and cooperation, also in lighting up the Samuel Beckett Bridge with Italian tricolore last Monday, as some of you have seen in the evening of Monday. Finally, the strength of the importance of the bilateral bonds between Italy and Ireland are witnessed also by the common commitment in peacekeeping missions in difficult and crucial crisis areas of both our armed forces. This is why it's a great honor for me to have the opportunity to have here with us the Chief of Staff of the Irish Defence Forces, General Mulcahy, and to confer tonight the military decoration of Italian Memorial Cross on 4 Irish officers for the services in the peace military missions in Lebanon and Kosovo, where they operated in close cooperation with Italian military contingents engaged in the same missions. The officers in question are Colonel Owen McNally, who will be awarded the Memorial Cross for his contribution to the peace military missions in Lebanon, carried out with the National Armed Forces from November 9, 2022 and May 23, 2023. Colonel Tom McGrath, who will be awarded the Memorial Cross for his contribution to the peace military mission in Lebanon, carried out with the National Armed Forces from November 15, 2023 to May 25, 2024. Lieutenant Colonel Stephen McKeon, who will be awarded the Memorial Cross for his contribution to the peace military mission in Lebanon as well, carried out with the National Armed Forces from November 24, 2023 to May 25, 2024. Commandant Paul Ryan, who will be awarded the Memorial Cross for his contribution to the peace military mission in Kosovo, carried out with the National Armed Forces from April 21st to October 26, 2023, in support of the pacification of ex-Yugoslavia. But before proceeding with the awarding ceremony of the 4 officers which are standing there, I'll also, together with our defense attaché, Admiral Angelo Virdes, who is here next to me, have the honor to call to the podium Lieutenant General Rossa Mulcahy, Chief of Staff of the Irish Defence Forces, who kindly accepted the invitation to say a few words. General.
Ambassador of Italy, Your Excellency Nicola Faganello, members of the diplomatic community, members of the House of the Oireachtas, ladies and gentlemen, and our friends from the Italian diaspora, buona sera. And thank you to the Ambassador for the very kind invitation to join you here this evening in the beautiful surrounds of Lonsdale Road to celebrate the Italian National Day, although we're a few days late, that's the 2nd of June. It is my honour on the occasion of my first diplomatic reception as the incoming Chief of Staff of the Defence Forces to address you on behalf of the women and men of Óglaigh na hÉireann. From a military perspective, our nations are no strangers, and as Chief of Staff I take great solace from the fact that many of our challenging overseas deployments have taken place alongside our colleagues, the men and women of the Italian Armed Forces. We have similar values, beliefs and operational perspectives, and this has allowed us to share those experiences and develop our operational interoperability. As our Irish Defence Forces restructures or transforms and onboards new capabilities, I know that Italy, as a fellow EU member, but also as a NATO PFP partner, will be there to help the Defence Forces broaden and deepen this cooperation with the aim of developing and enhancing our collective cooperation. On another note, I also deeply appreciate the hospitality and leadership of from the Italian contingents with which our personnel have served overseas, and also alongside our Italian colleagues in many staff roles on missions in Bosnia, in Lebanon, in Kosovo, and on the NATO missions in Afghanistan. And in that regard, I also include our staff officers who are currently deployed in Rome in the operational headquarters of the maritime mission Operation Irene. While the hardships they face in the Eternal City may differ from those of their colleagues in South Lebanon, Bosnia and Kosovo, they too are making a very significant and valuable contribution to the EU's common security and defence policy. As the Ambassador said, this evening is particularly poignant for the Defence Forces as we mark the award of the Italian Memorial Cross to our colleagues Colonel Owen McNally, Colonel Tom McGrath, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen McOwen and Commandant Paul Ryan for their deployments in both Lebanon and Kosovo. And I'm delighted to see their families and young children here today. It's great. This is a huge family event for them, and well done to you all. The proud period of service of the officers, in particular in South Lebanon, has coincided with a prolonged period of conflict in that region. A period during which our personnel of both our forces have shown extraordinary levels of both physical courage, personal sacrifice, resilience, commitment and dedication to the cause of international peace and security, serving alongside each other on the blue line. As we gather this evening, we keep in mind all of those members of the Italian Armed Forces and the Irish Defence Forces who are currently deployed on missions overseas, and they remain in our thoughts. I also wish to acknowledge the selection of Major General Abegnara as the next UNIFIL Force Commander. His nomination was notified yesterday by the Secretary General of the UN. Major General Abegnara is an excellent choice for both Lebanon and for UNIFIL, and we wish him every success. And of course, I should also mention the significant roles that our fellow officers from Ireland and Italy hold as the NATO Chair of the Military Committee and now the Chair of the European Union Military Committee. Our respective former CHODs, Admiral Cavo de Dragone and General Clancy, have been elevated to prestigious international appointments, and it speaks volumes of the professionalism and respect that both our forces have among our international partners. The idea of a northern and southern chair, European chair of both these organisations is an appealing opportunity, and coupled with the mutual regard and shared natural ability to operate in highly complex operating environments, it bodes well for a positive working environment and their efforts to enhance and bolster European security and resilience. Ambassador Faganello, thank you once again for your kind invitation. I look forward to our future opportunities as we both commence our tenure together for continued cooperation. To all of our friends in the audience, I wish you all buona Festa della Repubblica. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Thank you very much, and for your kind words. And now we ask the four officers to come forward for the awarding of the recognition. And I will do that together with you. Join me and Admiral Virdis. Okay, so this ceremony concludes the official part of tonight's celebration. But before closing this part of tonight's event and starting the more festive celebration with food and wine and drinks, I would like to take this opportunity to thank also my wife Francisca, who is somewhere there, the staff of the residence, the new residence, Ruth and Victor, who are working inside, and the colleagues of the Italian Embassy for their precious help in organizing tonight's event, Esther and all the Ian and all the Owen and all the other colleagues. And more in general, I would like to thank the staff of the Italian Embassy and of the Italian Institute of Culture or the ITA desk for their precious support and cooperation during this first month of my new job here as ambassador in Ireland. Grazie a voi. And in particular, a special mention goes, I think, to the staff of the consular office for the hard work they do every day to provide the services to the Italian community, as well as also the visas to the many people living in Dublin and in Ireland who want to travel into Italy for tourism, studying or business. So thank you, grazie anche ai collaboratori del settore consolare. And last but not least, I would like to take the opportunity to thank and wish goodbye and good luck to the head of the consular administrative section of the embassy for the last 4 years, Mariangela Matonte, who will leave Dublin for a new posting in the sun after the end of the summer. Grazie Mariangela. So, thank you all for your patience, grazie per la vostra pazienza e godetevi la serata, enjoy the evening, Gorev Mila Moch Agot, grazie mille e buona festa della Repubblica.